What's up, guys? Welcome back into the broadcast booth for Game 2 of this doubleheader between your post-University Eagles and the visiting Felician University Golden Falcons. I just ran downstairs and got the lineups moments ago, so we'll kind of get them as we go. Things have started up pretty fast here. Plugging them into the computer now as we speak. So giving you them as we go. Thomas Kendrick leading off at the DH spot. And after that, it'll be Andrew DeAngelis in right field. Hayden Walters will be playing third base. Ricky Voss will be at first. Jose David Medrano going to be doing the catching this game. Skrivanek from Game 1 is going to be in left field. Cole Porter will be playing short. Torres will be at second base. Evangelist will be at center field. And pitching will be Karitsis for the Golden Falcons. For the Eagles, it's pretty much a similar lineup to Game 1. That one's in there for a strike to start this one. Again, kind of running around here. It'll be Jack Martineau taking them out for Game 2. We are in Game 2 of this one. It's 2-1 count now from Martineau. 1-2 count, from Martineau. Again, apologies while I get my bearings here as we prepare for Game 2. As that one's flied into center field, sliding to try and grab it was Gill. He's not going to be able to, but that was going to be a tough play anyway, so that's going to be a straight-up triple to start the game. For Kendrick, DH spot. Again, bear with me, folks, for just a moment while we set things up in the live stats for game number 2. It's low for a ball. Want to know the count. That one's lined into left field. That's going to be a single, and that's going to score the first run of the afternoon. So just like Game 1, Felician gets on the board first. Thomas Kendrick with the leadoff triple to center. And now Andrew DeAngelis on the 1-0 count gets the RBI single. Run in for Felician and Hayden Walters to the plate. So that's where we are now. Now we're finally caught up. Bearings got. That one's a ball, and they're going to throw out DeAngelis going to second. So big out there. Caught stealing 2-6, it'll go down as. Got things started right away here. 1 out, 1-0 count. And we are taking a look as well at the post-softball game going on. They are still in Game 1. AIC and them are tied at 3-all in the bottom of the 7th. Eagles tied that one up in the 6th on a Ricard Dooley infield single. Ball outside, 2-1. If you weren't here in game number 1, Eagles won that one 11-1, fouled off to our left. Yeah, 2-2 count here to Walters. Again, keeping an eye on a few different things going on right now. Now we're locked in and ready to go. As that one's fouled off to the right. Now that one's lined into left field, and that one's going to be caught by Karen. So 2 away after the early trouble. And now bring Ricky Voss to the plate. Give you some scoring updates as well around the CACC. A lot of conference action going on right now due to the rain moving in. An absolute offensive slugfest for Jefferson and Goldie Beacom. That one goes final 19-11 in game 1. We went final 11-1 in 7 innings. Caldwell beat Bridgeport 9-6. Chestnut Hill trails Holy Family in the top of the 6th. That's a strike to Voss, 1-1 the count. Holy Family leads 6-3 over Chestnut Hill in game 1 of that. We are the only second game right now going on as that's a ball since we finished up early. There is some softball going on as well around the conference. That one's going to be chopped to the left side. Hard play for Rivera. Will be a hit if he gets on. Voss is going to be safe, and that will be an infield single for Voss. Jose David Medrano coming to the plate now. Taking a look at it, again, we told you Post and AIC tied at 3-all. Bridgeport leads Holy Family 4-2, top 5. 4-4 Franklin Pearson Caldwell, bottom 7. 6-0 Pace over Dominican, bottom 6. And Felician in Wilmington, it's 5-4 Wilmington, which is interesting because Wilmington is nationally ranked right now in softball. So interesting to see a close one there. And then obviously, like I mentioned, your Post women's softball team. That one swung out and missed. In the bottom of the 7th right now, tied up at 3. Looks like they're going to be headed to extra innings unless something changes based on what we've seen so far. Yeah, they are going to the 8th inning. Devin Barnett's pitching in that one, as that one swung on and missed and fouled away by Medrano. Barnett's gone 7 innings, allowing 3 runs, 2 of them earned, with a walk and a strikeout, 9 hits given up. Game 1, Joe Christiana spun a complete game, 7 innings, gave up 1 run on 6 hits with 6 strikeouts and 1 walk. Eagles 2-0 now in conference play, looking to get to 3-0 and avenge that loss once more against Felician last year in the CACC Tournament Championship. As I've got some numbers pulled up in front of me too. Post is one now. This will be after game 1. It is their 9th time in the last 10 games beating Felician. That sole loss was last year in that game too. And they're looking to make it 10 of 11 in game 2 here, but similar to game 1, they're going to be trailing. And so far this year, when Post trails in games, after that game 1 win where they trailed first, they are now 4-10 on the year when trailing in a game after giving up the first run. They are 6-3 when they score the game's first run. Jimmy Brennan in game number 1, 3 for 4, was just a triple shy of the cycle. Had that big home run to left field in the 6th inning, which helped pretty much open up the gates for the Eagle offense. That one's going to be swung on and missed, and that'll get Martineau out of the inning. So 1 run comes across on 3 hits, similar to the first inning of game number 1. 1 left on base, no errors. We head to the bottom of the 1st. Eagles trail 1-0. games.
I didn't get told about the game, but I just saw you posted on your story, and I was like, he probably has no one after him right now. Then so I just told, and so I just texted you.
Eagles looking to get stuff going here. Michael Pavlicek, Evan Cornwell, Chris Corchado, DJ Karen, Jimmy Brennan, Justin Rivera, Jalen Kelly, Hunter Keller, and Danny Gill. That's your starting 9 for the Eagles. And I'll just go over their positions, too, in that order that I just mentioned. Right field, shortstop, first base, left field, catcher, third base, DH, second base, center field. Jack Martineau on the mound pitching for the Eagles. Then we're taking a look. I want to make sure I don't get his name wrong, pronouncing it, but I don't see his name in the pronunciation guide provided. So I'll just do my best here in pronouncing his name. Daniel Karitzis is on the mound. Karitzis on the mound for Felician. .23 ERA, 0-2, 5 games, 5 starts, 20 2/3 innings pitched. 22 hits, 13 runs, 12 earned, 12 walks, 21 strikeouts. Only 4 extra base hits. All 4 were doubles. And as I say that one's lofted into left field. It might be a double if it wasn't able to get tracked down there by Skrivanek. 1 away. Again, Eagles trailing right now 1-0 in this one after giving up the run in the top of the first. And after this game, we'll try and see if we can get another post-game interview. If we win this one, we'll obviously have a couple people up here. If we don't win this one, we'll at least have, hopefully, Joe Cristiano up here at some point to talk to him about his victory in the first game of the day. That one's chopped over to short. Porter going to try and make a tough play. That's going to be a single. Infield single for Cornwell. Nicely picked by Porter, but not able to get him. Porter, a transfer from UMass Boston a couple of years ago under head coach Brendan Eigerbrod. He's been here at Felician for the last 2 years. Just not able to make the play there. He does also, I believe I mentioned this in the previous game if you weren't with us, leads the team in errors on the year with 8. Why I mentioned that, not to call him out, obviously. Like, I don't want to do that to any one player, but the reason I mention it is because in game 1, Ujima had 4 errors at shortstop. He's not playing in this game, but 4 errors for him alone helped kind of flip the script on where this game was up to that point. Ball's low to Chris Corchado. 1-1 the count, 1 out here, runner on first. Taking a look at stuff over at the post game for softball. They were having a little bit of trouble putting the international runner in. I was just talking with our crew over there to make sure that we got that figured out. And I see now they've inputted stuff, and it looks like a 2-run home run in the top of the 8th has given AIC the lead because you had the international runner on second. However, same thing goes for post now. They get the international runner on second. The offense has been struggling for them, so we'll see if they can get something going, extend the game possibly to a 9th inning, or win the game in 8. Cornwell's checked on over at first by Karitzis with the 2-1 count. Again, we're only playing 7 innings here, just like in a softball game. 7 innings will be played here. That one's in there for a strike. Count 2-2 to Corchado. It's Walters, Porter, Torres, and Voss on the infield. That one's outside. The throw down, and he looked like he had Cornwell out. But the ball was dropped by Porter at second. 3-2 count coming. Stolen base there for Evan Cornwell. And now with a runner in scoring position and only 1 out, the Eagles have a chance now to possibly get a run back here and tie it up at 1-1. Last game they did that in the 2nd inning with Hunter Keller's sacrifice on the infield. That one's chopped right back to Karitzis. He's going to run over and flip it to Voss. 2 away. Cornwall moves up to third. Stepping in is DJ Karen. He struggled in game one of this one. Looking to right the ship here in game number 2. Very quiet weekend again, like we mentioned in game 1 for all post-Eagles sports. We are hosting the Special Olympics basketball tournament tomorrow at the Drubner Center, but we do not have any on-campus collegiate events going on. As these games were moved to today, softball was postponed until early April on the first Sunday of that month. I believe that's April 7th. That one's in there for a strike. Tennis was canceled down at Jefferson. That'll be postponed to a later date. And then women's lacrosse was moved up to 10:30 tomorrow down at Holy Family. Men's lacrosse not in action tomorrow. No teams in action on Sunday or Monday. We're back here on Tuesday against Chestnut Hill at noon for the baseball team. That one's fouled off. And then we have a doubleheader on Friday against Goldie Beacom. In softball, CACC matchup, big one for those. Big one for softball as they have just lost game 1 5-3 against AIC. So the Eagles there fall to 2-15. Chopped over to Porter at short. He's going to fire over to first, short arm it, and got the out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base for the Eagles. They trail 1-0 after 1. Skrivanek coming to the plate in the second. We'll be right back here on the CACC Network. Jack Skrivanek coming in now for the first batter of the inning against Jack Martineau. Eagles trail 1-0 in this one. One game won 11-1. And also in similar fashion, it's very weird. This game has had a lot of parallels to it in terms of Eagles in the first inning of game 1 had a hit. Of course, it came with 2 outs instead of 1, like it did in this game. Felician, 1 run on 3 hits, just like they did in game 1, and then the bats went pretty much silent after that as that one's hit to Cornwall at short. He throws over to Corchado at first, 6-3, he's out for Cole Porter. So a lot of parallels. Then obviously the Eagles tied it up in the second. Then they went on their big 11 unanswered run streak, which put them in firm position for the victory. And victory they got, 11-1. So they continue to try and work their way up the CACC ladder early on in the year. The quicker you can get out to a big start, not that you can obviously drop games later on, but the quicker you get out to a fast start and put some distance between you and your opponents, the better, as that ball is outside. Martineau paints the outside corner. Count moves to 1-2. That one swung on and fouled off by Porter, so it'll remain 1-2 the count. So again, if you're following along with us today, we've got some softball action going on. They just finished up game one. They lost game one 5-3 in 8 innings. They're now preparing for game two as Martineau gets the strikeout looking there of Porter. Torres now coming to the plate with 2 outs. Two outs, no one on. Torres to the plate. He came in later on in game number one after some defensive shifts that we couldn't really even follow up here ourselves. But eventually we figured them all out. That one's in there for a strike, and now Martineau just working nice and efficiently here against these Felician hitters. Seems to have found his rhythm after, in similar fashion, actually. There was a struggle in game one in the first inning by the starting pitcher, Joe Cristiana, and then after Cristiana settled in, he just started mowing down hitters left and right, not via the strikeout, but he was getting them out on soft contact in a lot of cases, which obviously helps the Eagles' cause to get him low on pitch count. He went a full 7 innings, 97 pitches, and got the complete game win. Martineau deals, and thought he had the outside corner, did not. Again, behind the plate now is Tom Ryberg. Patrick Burns, who was the game one home plate umpire, is in the field for this one. The 2-2 swung on and missed. Torres down swinging. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Leading off for the Eagles in the bottom of the second, Jimmy Brennan, then Justin Rivera, Jalen Kelly when we come back on the CACC Network. Jimmy Brennan to the dish, 3 for 4 in game number one. He's going to step in. Eagles trailing in this one right now, 1-0. Bottom of the second, 7-inning game for you here on the CACC Network and YouTube. If you're joining us on there, we appreciate you joining us. And if you joined us in game number one of the doubleheader of softball with Griffin Cass on there, we appreciate you joining us there. They'll get underway in about 30 minutes from now with game number two. But if you're joining us here, welcome. Eagles trailing 1-0 in this one. Looking to get the bats going here. They did in game one, and I mentioned a lot of it came due to fielding errors by the Felician defense. However, as time went on in that game, the Eagles bats actually started to produce offensively. Early on, it was a lot of benefiting off of the defense of Felician, but then they took matters into their own hands, finally got those bats going. Again, like I mentioned, coming into the day, 8 of 11 games, the Eagles have scored less than 3 runs in their last 11, I should say. And then today, they made it 9 of their last 12 with that one in game one. And then to lead off this inning, Jimmy Brennan picking up right where he left off in game number one. Gets that left field hit for a single. He's now 4 for 5 on the day. 2 singles, a double, and a home run. 2 RBIs as well to his name, and 4 runs scored. Karitzis dealing to Justin Rivera. He falls behind 1-0. Swung on and missed. 1-1 the count from Karitzis. Sun started to come out a little bit more. My thermometer on the screen says 69 degrees, which is definitely not correct. We're all bundled up here. It's more like 40-ish degrees, maybe 39, but definitely not 69. Wish it was that warm right now. Rivera in game 1 of the doubleheader, he went 0 for 4. Scored once, reached on an error. Michael Pavelchak had 2 stolen bases in that game as well as the pickoff play over to Brennan at first. No good. 20 pitches so far for Karitzis. 23 after the 3 this at-bat. 12 for strikes, make that 13 with the 1 strike in this at-bat. And he deals now. Swung on the short. Porter's going to grab it. And just get this sure out at first base. Throws over to Voss. 1 away. Runner in Brennan moving up to second on the 6-3 put out. Jalen Kelly now with 1 out. Kelly 2 for 4 last game with 2 singles and a run scored. And that 1 run scored, he hustled around the bases. A bases clearing double for Danny Gill. Scored him all the way from first. The big man was motoring around all the bases to score on that one. Helped get the Eagles up to 10-1 before Michael Pavelchak ended it with his RBI single. Give Post the win. That was nowhere near the plate. Over the back of Kelly's head. He didn't even flinch. He just kind of ducked. It looked like it was a breaking ball that just didn't break, which you see those every now and again. They can sometimes be dangerous depending on how fast they come in, but Kelly harmlessly out of the way of that one. 1-0 the count with 1 out here and a runner on second. That one's inside. Just catches the corner for a strike on Kelly. Kelly didn't seem to be a fan of that one, but he'll just step right back in and hope to shake that one off and see what he can do here. Tying run at second, 1 out. Bottom of the lineup up for the Eagles. That one's outside for a ball. 2-1 the count. Eagles bottom of the lineup last game manufactured 4 hits. Their bottom 3 did. Right before Brennan, 4 hits for them and 4 RBIs, and then Brennan right above them, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Karitzis deals high in on the hands of Kelly. He's not dishing or fishing for that one. It's 3-1 count. Karitzis dealing way outside. It's also going to go down as a wild pitch. Now, again, the runner did move up to third. He wasn't voluntarily moving up to third. So that's a walk. And another breaking pitch. I don't even know if it was a breaking pitch or he just kind of slipped out of his hand there by Karitzis. Moves the runner over to third in Brennan. Runner's on the corners now. So this is an interesting scenario, actually, because in one sense of the matter, it does actually eliminate now the infield fly, but at the same time, it also sets up a double play ball, and it also sets up the opportunity for a sacrifice fly. So there's a lot of different moving parts here of things that can happen in this one. Oh, 1 the count. Looking to sack bunt it. This is what they did in game 1. Now they're not going to be able to because there's 2 outs. But it was actually the same batter in Hunter Keller. He's the one who got the Eagles on the board in this exact same spot with a runner on third and 1 out. Keller sacrificed himself over towards the first base side, got the runner to come in and score. I believe it was actually Jimmy Brennan. I got the numbers pulled up in front of me. Yeah, it was Jimmy Brennan who scored on that. It was exactly this. Runners on the corners. Jalen Kelly was at first. Keller was retired 1-3. Runner came in to score, but he's going to have to swing away here, and this is what I was just talking about. 4-6-3. Keller is retired. The Eagles retired. They still trail 1-0 after 2 innings here on the CACC Network. We'll be back in 1 moment. Top of the third here. Jack Martineau back out on the mound for Post. Sean Evangelista leading off. He didn't play in game one. He's playing in center field, which pushed Skrivanik over to left field. And he's showing bunt here on the first pitch, pulls back. Doesn't matter, though. It's down the middle by Martineau, and that's his 29th strike in 39 pitches so far. Kind of on the similar track that Cristiano was in game one. And he's working quickly, kind of like Cristiano was early on. After getting into that jam early, as this ball is rolling, but it's going to stay foul. And, man, that was almost a scary collision over there in between the base paths between Martineau and Evangelista. Came very close because they were hugging that line. And Evangelista initially was not running out of the box because he was thinking that was going to stay foul. But then once it started to curve back fair, Eagles were waiting on it. And then once they saw Evangelista was running, touched it to make sure that if it did go fair, that it would be no harm, no foul for them. No pun intended. That one's outside for a ball, and the count moves to 1-2. Martineau threw 2 so far, 3 hits, 1 run earned, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Again, he's producing similar numbers to what Cristiano was in game one. And the one thing I did mention also in game one was about the pitchers so far for the Eagles. Overall, their ERA above 7 have struggled at times, but again, you have to look at the opponents they faced. And against the opponents that they've faced that are, not nationally ranked and at the top of the top in all of Division II, they have been much better than against those teams in obvious scenarios. As you see that strikeout right there by Evangelista for the first out of the inning, bringing the top of the lineup in Thomas Kendrick to the plate, who led off this game with a triple on the 4th pitch and held lead to the lone run of the game so far, as that pitch is high and it looks like it bounced off of the umpire's mask, Ryberg's mask, excuse me. 1-0 count here, 1-3-0-0-2-0 on the board for both teams. The first 3 numbers I read were Felician. The last 3 numbers were Post, not your Powerball numbers for tonight, folks. 1-1 count now to Kendrick. Swung on and missed. Count moves to 1-2. Again, we're only playing 7 innings in this one, so we played only 7 in game 1, but that was because it was a mercy rule, 10-run mercy rule after 7. There is no mercy rule here. The shift looked like it was on, and that's going to get through. Kendrick now is halfway through the cycle with he's got, honestly, the hardest part of it out of the way in the triple. Now he's got the single. He just needs a double and a home run. Will he get it in this game? Yeah, it's possible if he gets 2 more at-bats. It would be hard to get 2 more at-bats in the 7th inning, but it is quite the possibility, seeing that he is at the top of the lineup. That brings up DeAngelis, who his last time around got that run in. He's going to take that pitch low for a ball, 1-0. And again, at the rate we're going with this game, you may see that our softball team is still playing, so be sure to go and join in on that game and catch the action of that as it winds down, or throw both games up on YouTube on your screen and do a split screen and watch them both right now, as we've got plenty of action today around Post, and then a quiet next few days for all our spring sports. All our winter sports finished up last week with Post men's basketball ending their run in the NCAA tournament in the semifinals of the East region, as they're going to try and get Kendrick stealing second on that ball. It's 2-0 the count. Kendrick steals second. It looked like Brennan fired that one in. Cornwell was just not able to get the tag in, and Cornwell is talking to Burns about it. Patrick Burns, the first/second/third base umpire in game number 2, who was calling balls and strikes behind the plate in game number 1. So the 2-0, that one's inside. Count moves to 3-0. Martineau with 4 strikeouts so far, no walks, in danger of walking his first batter of the game here, and it would be a less than ideal time to do so with the heart of the order coming up. That one's outside for a ball, and that's going to be a walk. So first and second now for Walters. Hayden Walters now coming to the plate. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Only 1 out. Double play ball in order once again after the steal by Kendricks is pretty much not wiped out, but pretty much negates him moving over to second with that walk. And now Ray Skold is going to go out and talk to his pitcher. Another important thing to note is when you go out to the pitcher's mound a second time, you do have to pull the pitcher in the inning. So this is their one time being used. I do see arms not warming up actively, but just kind of stretching out there. Martineau's been primarily a bullpen guy so far this year, so you might see him go 4 or 5 depending on how he works through this, but you also may see him go the complete depending on how long or how many pitches he goes and how efficient he is. He hasn't been too efficient so far, already above 50 pitches. 3.80 ERA, no wins, 1 loss, 6 appearances, 3 games started, 21, this will be his 4th game started now actually. 21 in 1/3 innings coming into the day, 18 hits, 9 runs, all of them earned, 9 walks, 14 strikeouts. And then coming into the day, he had given up 7 extra base hits, including 2 home runs. That's changed a little, obviously, with how things have transpired so far today. Ray Skold now leaving the mound. And Martineau will look to retire Walters and get out of this jam. Again, the other thing to note, too, I mentioned in Game 1, because it happened, infield fly rule is on right now if it's popped up on the infield. Martineau deals. That one's lined down the line by Walters. That's a base hit into the corner. Chasing it down is Pavelchak. It looks like 2 runs might score on that. Nope, it'll be just 1. Pavelchak fires that one in well. That's going to be an RBI double for Walters. Hayden Walters gives Felician a 2-0 lead, and they're still threatening with 2 on and 1 out here. 2 runners in scoring position, I should say, and 2 outs here in the 2nd inning. Excuse me, 3rd inning. Ricky Voss, the cleanup hitter, up 1 for 1 on the day. And he lifts that one into right field. I'm not going to call that one out like I did earlier in game number 1. Voss had a similar swing and arc on that one. That's going to be a sac fly. Runners move up a base, run scores. So Voss, long and short of it, does his job. Moves Walters over to 3rd. Gets another run in for Felician, who now takes a 3-0 lead. Medrano now coming up to the plate. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Felician, though, in control by 3 runs. And the Eagles' bat's going to have to figure out a way to get things going in the next half inning to avoid this one from getting out of hand. That one's in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. Just outside. Count moves to 1-1. That one's in there for a strike, and Martineau 1 strike away from getting out of this jam. That one's lifted into center field, going back to try and chase this Gill. That one's going to get down for a hit. It's going to be a double. Medrano in, standing up at second with a double, and Felician has all the momentum in game number 2 right now against Jack Martineau. Walter scores. It's another run in, and Skrivanek now coming to the dish. No one has started throwing yet, so really not much the Eagles can do in terms of getting a new arm out there unless they've brought in someone cold, which you don't want to do, obviously. So this probably is going to be Martineau's inning to work with unless this keeps up for much longer. And then I have to think with the way things have transpired in this inning, this is probably going to be the day for him, especially because it's a conference game. You don't want things to get too far out of hand. The Eagles' bats, we saw them get going in game number 1, so they need to get something going in game number 2, especially now trailing by 4 runs. That one's going to be popped up. It's going to stay in fair territory. Pavelchak makes the catch. Side retired, but not before 3 runs come across on 3 hits, no errors, 1 runner left on base. After 2.5 innings of play in the 7-inning affair, it is 4-0 Felician here on the CACC Network. Danny Gill going to bat for the Eagles here to start off the bottom of the third. Eagles need to get something going, down 4-0 after giving up 3 in the top of the third inning. Jack Martineau was on the mound, and I don't think he's going to be out there for the fourth, but that remains to be seen. It's possible they give him another shot to see if he can calm things down. I do see number 13 warming up, though, for Post in the bullpen, as that one's in there for a strike to Gill from Karitzis. Number 13 for the Eagles is your Justin Portes, junior right-handed pitcher. We thought he might get the start in this game, but he's going to come out of the bullpen in this one. So Portes warming up in the Eagles bullpen to our left side. That one's down low and skips away from Medrano behind the plate. Medrano is catching in Game 2. As I mentioned in Game 1, because I thought he was catching in Game 1 for a slight moment, he has 12 pass balls on the year, including 2 against the Eagles in the first game, which led to 2 Eagle runs. And when I say the first game against the Eagles, I'm talking about the other day when they were playing down at Felician. Gave up 2 pass balls, which led to 2 Eagles runs in that 4-1 win for Post. That one in there for a strike. Count moves to 2-2 against Gill. Here in the bottom of the third inning. Post softball just getting underway in game number 2. Again, they lost that game number 1, 5-3 in 8 innings. Extra inning home run from the Yellow Jackets boosted them to that one. Now Gill's going to fly that one into right field towards the line to try and grab it. It's foul anyways. But going towards the line to try and grab it was DeAngelis. Way out there. There is a lot of foul territory here at Municipal Stadium on both sides. It seems like as things get kind of crammed or cramped towards the middle of towards the backstop and where we are, things expand out really quickly to either side as Gill fouls that one away, and their count means 2-2. So just interesting to notice the way the dimensions are here. Pavelchak on deck after this, and then after that would be Evan Cornwell, who has a hit today. Jimmy Brennan also has a hit. Those are the 2 hits for Post. That one rings him up. Delayed strike called there. Well, it did look like a strike from up here. I did not want to assume until I saw the umpire punch him out. Gill even looked like he knew it was a strike, but don't want to call it ahead of time. Michael Pavelchak, top of the lineup, coming up to bat here. Eagles looking to see what they can do as they trail right now, 4-0. That one is lined up the middle. If Christus was any closer to his right, he would have taken one off the head, as that one was fielded kind of awkwardly out there by Evangelista, but he gets it in. It's a single for Michael Pavelchak, and now the Eagles looking to get in business now with Evan Cornwell up, with one retired here in the third. Kritzis, 40 pitches so far, 24 for strikes. He's about even. Swung on and missed. Counts 0-1 to Cornwell, who singled in his first at bat. The Eagles have had some chances, but nothing sustained so far through the first 2 innings. This will be their first chance to try and get something sustained, as that one swung on a miss. Count moves to 0-2 on Cornwell. Heart of the order coming up for the Eagles right now. Cornwell, Corchado, and Karen, the 3 C's. If they can get going, see how things play out the rest of this way. 0-2 to Cornwell, outside, and looks like they thought Pavelchak was going to take off for second. He does not. Again, like I mentioned, Pavelchak, 2 stolen bases in game number 1. He has 3 now this year. He was 1-2 coming into the day. Now he is 3 for 4. Lined up the middle, and it looks like ranging over to grab it. What a beautiful play over to the middle there by Torres. He looks like he was cutting it off. That's going to be a 4-3 grounding into a double play for Pavelchak in the most unorthodox way you could imagine. But it doesn't matter how you get the outs. All that matters is how you get the outs. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, no one left on base for the Eagles. We head to the 4th inning. It'll be Porter, Torres, and Kendrick coming to the plate for Felician. They lead 4-0 here on the CACC Network. Cole Porter stepping in this inning. Had a 1-2 count there, and he's going to saw that one off to second. Keller over to first. One retired here to start the inning. I'll bring Torres, who just made that fantastic play over at second base. I don't know, to me, when Pavlicek hit that one, when Cornwell hit that one, it looked like it was going up the middle, but it didn't have the speed and the legs, and then Torres just ranged over and got into the position he needed to make the play, step on second, throw over to first, and that was all as she wrote on that inning for the Eagles, who have not been able to figure out Karitzis yet. Just getting underway, too, at softball. AIC has already taken a 1-0 lead in that one in the top of the first on a walk and a couple errors. Two-two count here from Martineau. Martineau is starting this inning out, and so far so good for him, and now he gets Torres to foul that one off. But like I mentioned, Justin Portes at last glance was warming up. Pitch count up to 64 for Martineau. Doesn't feel like we're in the fourth inning already, but we are. It's been a fast-moving game. We started around 3:30-ish, just after 3:30-ish, and we're closing in on the 1 hour mark of game number 2 of this 7-inning affair. 3-2 count, fouled back by Torres. Count remains full. 45 strikes for Martineau coming into the at-bat, so add another 4 to his resume for the day. That's 49. This will be the eighth pitch of the at-bat, and he's going to walk him. So I'll bring Evangelista to the plate, bottom of the lineup, and the top of the lineup's been the ones that have been doing the damage against Martineau. Kendricks 2 for 2, DeAngelis 1 for 1, Walters 1 for 2, Voss 1 for 1 for 1. So once you get into those top 4, that's where Martineau's had struggles with getting outs defensively. Martineau gets the strike call there and didn't seem too happy with it. I think it was because the previous pitch was in a similar spot and was called a ball for ball 4, and that time it was called a strike. Almost like testing to see if Tom Ryberg behind the plate was going to call it or not. So he checks over on Torres at first. Nothing doing there. That one's in there for a strike. Count moves to 0-2. Eagles trailing 4-0 in this one, trying to keep it at 4 and give themselves a shot at the dish. Martineau deals, and that one's fouled off again by Evangelista. Martineau taking his time with the runner on. He's going to fire over to try and pick him off, and then that's going to pop out of Corchado's glove. That's going to be an E3. Corchado had it in his glove, and it popped out. Runner moves up to second. So now runner in scoring position with just one out. Martineau was a little high with the throw, as that one's going to be strike number 3. Big out there for Martineau, 2 away. While the throw was a little high, Corchado did have it in his glove, and it popped out and scored it away, and that's what allowed the runner to go. That's why the error is charged to Corchado and not Martineau in that case. Nonetheless, if you were looking at this from a run earned run perspective, the runner still in the mind of the scorer needs to be at first base after that. Therefore, a single here would make that run unearned for now on Martineau. It would take a couple of hits, possibly, depending on the depth of a double, if it was a double, for a run to count as earned there. That one's going to be flying in the air. It won't matter. As Gill tracks that one down in center field, and that'll end the inning. With Kendricks out, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left on base. Corchado, Karen, Brennan due up here in the bottom of the 4th for the Eagles here on the CACC Network. Chris Corchado leading it off for your Eagles here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Post trailing 4-0. Got some work to do to try and get into this one after Joe Cristiano spun a complete game in Game 1. Corchado, that's not the way to get it started for them to try and get it as he grounds out to Voss there at first. 1 away on 1 pitch. Karitzis has been efficient so far. 45 pitches after that. Through 3 1/3 innings. Seaport is still warming up out there. Martineau did have a nice inning last inning, allowing the walk, but besides that, he looked good. And then the runner moved up to second on the error by Corchado. It was a little bit of an errant throw by Martineau, but Corchado got the full glove on it, and it just kind of popped out. Karen 0 for 1 today. Jimmy Brennan on deck. He's 1 for 1 on the day. And 4 for 5 in the doubleheader so far. 1-1 the count now to Corchado. Excuse me, to Karen. Chris deals the 1-1. That one's low for a ball. 2-1 the count. Four runs on 6 hits for Felician. No runs on 3 hits. And an error for Post. That one's grounded to second. Torres throws over to Voss at first. 2 away. Quickly here in the 4th inning for the Eagles. First pitch is low for a ball to Jimmy Brennan. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, 4 for 5 today. He could have if he gets a triple here, he would have hit for the cycle in the doubleheader, across the doubleheader. That one's going to be lined, and that's another hit for Jimmy Brennan. That's his 5th of the day in 6 at-bats. So Jimmy Brennan on base. Eagles looking to see if they can get something started. Justin Rivera 0 for 5 so far across both games of the doubleheader. quick scoring update as well from softball. They just had the bases loaded with no one out, scored a run on a fielder's choice. So now the deficit just 2-1. Eagles looking to snap a 5-game losing streak after dropping game 1 5-3 and get their first win at Lemoyne Field this year, as both of their wins came down in Florida during their spring trip against Felician and Ursuline. That one's grounded over to Porter at short. He steps on second for the fielder's choice to retire the side. So the Eagles get one runner on Jimmy Brennan's single. No one comes across. No errors, one left on base. It's going to be DeAngelis Walters-Voss coming up in the top of the 5th of this 7-inning affair. Felician leads 4-0 here on the CACC Network. Jack Martineau out there for a 5th inning, 79 pitches for him, 55 for strikes, and he's going to take on DeAngelis, the first batter of this one. Fouls it back, up and over our heads. Andrew DeAngelis coming into this at bat, 1 for 1 on the day with a walk. And an RBI, single. Again, we're only playing 7, so 9 more outs that the Eagles have to work with, as this one is hit deep into the gap. Ranging over to get it is Gill. He drops it. That was going to be a clear double the whole way. Runner was already on his way to second, so it's a double for DeAngelis, and Felician in business early. Justin Portes is still lightly throwing. It looks like he's not throwing anymore, but he was before, and that looks like it's going to be it for Martineau, so he was going to get one batter to see what he could do. He can't do anything. He allows a double to deep center field. Ray Skold going to make the slow walk out to likely pull Jack Martineau from this one. And we already see Justin Portes is going to come in for this one. So Justin Portes is going to relieve Martineau. And we'll step aside here while he takes his warm-ups. It's 4-0 Felician here in the top of the 5th here on the CACC Network. Hayden Walters coming to the plate here. No one out. Runner on second. 4-0 Felician here. First one from Portes outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Trying to limit the damage here as that one's in there for a strike. Porta's working a little bit slower than we saw Martineau. Fires and nails him on the knee, it looked like, or just below it. And that's going to put 2 on now with nobody out. Justin Portes coming to the game, 0 for 3 on the year, an 18 ERA, 4 appearances, 2 starts. He's pitched 6 innings in which he's had 5 hits given up. 5 hits but 13 runs, 12 of them earned because of 9 walks and 3 strikeouts. Only a triple and a home run for extra base hits against him. That one's fouled off. Oh, 0-1 count from Portes. That one's going to be hit deep by Ricky Voss. Going back with Pavelchak over his head. It's going to be off the wall. The runners are trying not to get in front of each other over on second and third, and they're both going to score. And that's going to be Walters and DeAngelis coming across the plate. Ricky Voss with a big 2-run double. And just like that, Felician in full control, 6-0. This one's starting to get out of hand for the Eagles, who took the first 2 games against Felician. Portes coming into the day. Pitched against Lynn, lasted 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 3 runs, 1 walk, a strikeout. Against North Greenville, he lasted a third of an inning, 1 earned run, 3 walks. Only 1 run given up. It's in their first strike to Medrano. Against Queens, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And in his last appearance against Barry University down in Florida back on March 9th, so it's been a little while since we've seen the mound. That one's in there for a strike, 0-2 the count. No hits, no runs given up. No innings pitched, no hits, 4 runs given up on 3 walks, and 1 wild pitch. He only faced, I believe, 3 or 4 batters, and I think he faced those 3 batters and then was pulled. Might have been 4 batters, and he was therefore charged for all those runs as Medrano strikes out looking. Skrivanik now coming to the plate with 1 out. He was charged with 4 runs because he faced 4 batters, and that allowed runs to score, but he didn't give up a single hit, and then obviously he's responsible for the runners that who his relief pitcher inherited in that performance. That ball is high. The first one of the at-bat. So that also closes the line on Jack Martineau. Should have mentioned that before. He does inherit those runners that were on base when Portes came in. Therefore, when you look at his final line for the day, Jack Martineau is going to have gone 4 innings, 81 pitches, 7 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. One's high for a ball and goes to 2-0. It seems like Portes has a lot of speed behind his pitches, but the accuracy is what he's lacking right now in terms of getting the ball over the plate in a spot where the hitter can't hit it, but where it's going to be called a strike as well. Portes deals, and once again firing outside. That one crossed up Brennan. That's going to go out as a wild pitch. So Skrivanik had the dish in the driver's seat, 3-0 count. And Portes hasn't been able to throw him anything really close at all. He had 6 strikes on 8 pitches coming into the at-bat. And now Brennan being checked on. Looks like he got him on the finger. He's been dealing with some issues with that that wrist area. And I believe it looks like, from what I'm hearing, is that it hit that general area. So obviously a little bit of a tender spot for it to ricochet off of. So he's being looked at right now. While they're doing that, we'll again give you some score updates. AIC and Post tied at 2, bottom of the second. Runner on second right now for Post after Julia Maeda started the inning off with a single. Brennan's going to test the arm, throws it down to first. He's going to play a little catch with Corchado. Looks like he's okay. Probably will feel it a little bit tomorrow, but looks like he's going to be able to get through today and get through this game. And he's already in this game 2 for 2. Again, he was 3 for 4 in game number 1. 3-0 the count. Portes deals, and that one's also high, and they're going to walk him. So Skrvanek on, runners on the corners. Porter up now with 1 out. Now Portes' ball to strike count even at 6 all, 12 total. Keep in mind, too, that some strikes do count, whether if it counts as a strike, if it's also fouled off or hit into play as well towards the pitcher's numbers. So Portes also has a couple of those from foul balls and also the hits that have already come for Felician. That one's sack bunted. Brennan's going to try and get to it. Can't. Oh, man. Very dangerous play there, too, as Portes had to jump over Brennan to avoid hitting him. Brennan is still in some visible pain, and you can tell he's flexing that wrist, and he was just flexing it again. And without his mask on, you could see him closing his eyes and wincing a little bit in pain. It should be an 0-1 count because of the way the umpire is standing. Our scoreboard operator interpreted it as 1-0 instead of 0-1, but it was a foul ball, so it's 0-1. And now we're set to go as Portes deals. Runner taking off for second, and that was, as much as you hate to say it, it was a smart play by Felician to do that because they knew that Brennan, with the sore wrist after what just happened, was probably going to have a little bit of an issue trying to throw that one down to second, so they took full advantage, unfortunately, of the shape that he's in right now and were able to swipe second. And now Skrvanek taking off for third won that play. Oh, man, that was tough. Oh, wow, that was close. So it does go down as a sacrifice. The run scores on the sacrifice. Excuse me, it goes down as a fielder's choice. That's my fault. A 1-2 fielder's choice out, but then the run scores. So it ends up actually being an RBI after all. And Jimmy Brennan's very close play. Jimmy Brennan thinks that the out should have been there. It was very close, and he's obviously not happy. And that was a very close play too at the plate in terms of you almost had a collision. But for now, that'll go down as a 1-2 put out. Fielder's choice for Cole Porter. He's going to get an RBI because the run scores. Heads up base running by Skrvanek there. It's hard to tell if he got him with the ball or not, but it looks like that's not going to be overturned if I had to guess, and this is going to be a 7-0 ball game. Fortunately, we can't get the replay for you live. I'm taking a look at it myself from up here to see what I can see on it. Unfortunately, we can't show a replay on the stream right now. So Portes shovels it home. First out for Brennan is clearly, you can't see anything on the replay anyways. The umpire is standing right over where Jimmy Brennan is. So you can't actually see if he applied a tag or not. I didn't think he did because he was just laying there and the glove never really popped in the air. But Ray Scold is still arguing with the umpire about it possibly being a tag played there at home. Umpires are going to confer about it now. Now, if this stands, it would be a fielder's choice. And no matter what, it's a fielder's choice. It's a matter of did Cole Porter get the RBI or not for it, or is it a pair of putouts? One would go 1-2, the next one would go 2 unassisted. A very weird play to put in. And it technically is a double play. Brennan is actually, if you can see it on your screen right now, Brennan is talking with his teammates about what happened. And then Hunter Keller is telling somebody to cut it out. I think some people on the post bench are talking towards the direction of the umpires, and Keller was just kind of motioning for him to cut it out. Based on what we've seen, obviously, the umpires are going to talk about it. I can't imagine they're going to overturn it because their initial call was what it was. With no replay available, which replay is not mandated at this level, yep, they're going to just keep that as is. So 7-0 ball game, run scores, 2 outs. Would have been the third out of the inning. Runner gets the first in Cole Porter. RBI for him. So it's a fielder's choice, put out 1-2, and then Scrivanik scores. So 2 outs, fresh count to Torres, who's now stepping in. In a 7-0 ball game. That pitch is low for ball 1. Starting to get a little cloudy here at the stadium. We saw a little bit of sun early on, but now it's started to... Now my temperature's correct. If you were here in game number 1, it said it was 69 degrees. It is currently 43 and cloudy. That pitch is in there for a strike. Brennan going to throw down a little wide. Not going to get that in time, so... Strike called, 1-1 the count. Cole Porter now in scoring position. Keep in mind, too, no mercy rule in this one. The 10-run mercy rule only applies in a 9-inning game, so we will play the full 7 no matter what. So the Eagles will still have 9 outs to work with to potentially get themselves back into this one. One. Portes gets Torres to foul that one off. Count moves to 1-2. 3-2 the score over at softball. AIC leading post trailing 3-2 in the top of the third. Portes had to throw over, also be considered a balk, and he does. And now they were set with Porter on second, and it 1-2 count. The 1-2, low and in the dirt. 2-2 the count. Portes looking to escape some trouble here. That one's outside too, and now they're going to throw down. Portes wasn't anticipating that, and they're going to hold him at second, but Brennan fired that one delayed. Portes wasn't anticipating that Brennan was going to fire down, but he does. No harm, no foul, fortunately for the Eagles there, but Porter nearly thought about going for third. If that ball was the ball had a little bit less speed behind it, and rolled a little more, they might have been able to. Oh, man, watch out. Torres a little shaken up from that. It didn't hit him, but it was very close. That'll bring Evangelista to the plate. Already another arm warming up. It's number 20, Eric Gutowski. I got to think this will probably be Portes' only inning with the way his control has looked so far. He's now thrown 11 balls to 10 strikes, and that one was going to be high, but it's swung at by Evangelista, and Cornwell gets the pop out, but not before 3 more runs come across on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. It's going to be Kelly, Keller, and Gill coming to the plate in the bottom of the 5th for the Eagles, looking to chip into this deficit right now against Karitzis, who's only at 53 pitches. We'll be right back on the CACC Network. Do the Eagles have a rally in their bones? It's 5th inning. It's a 7-inning game, so it's not like this is their last at-bats, but coming back from down 7 with 3 outs to go is a lot harder than coming back down 7 with 9 outs to go. So Eagles will look to get to work here in the 5th and maybe chip away a little at this deficit, similar to what they did against Southern New Hampshire in that win last weekend, in which they were down 5-3 heading into the 6th inning, and then got a few runs back to tie it up, and then ended up winning it on John Onofrio's RBI single, the freshman winning that one for the Eagles 6-5. On the back end of a wild Saturday that we had for Post Athletics. Kelly looks at that one, and it's a 3-0 count. Now, the other thing is Karitzis hasn't been out there in quite some time. He was sitting in the dugout, obviously, because his team was just kind of hitting around for quite some time against Portes and Martineau. That one's low for a ball, so 4 straight pitches. It's a walk. Hunter Keller now coming to the dish. And that's how you want to start things off if you're the Eagles, if you want to start to chip away at this deficit and get yourself back into it. Post softball right now, again with the bases loaded, no one out. Bottom of the 3rd, trailing by 1. They've had a few of these scenarios today and haven't been able to cash in big time yet. And as I say that, they ground into a fielder's choice and are out at home. So 1 out, base is still loaded. A little bit of a mound visit here for the Golden Falcons, talking to Karitzis. Probably just trying to settle him down. I don't see anybody getting loose. It is also a 7-0 game. The less guys you have to use, the better. And so far, he showed complete control until he walked Kelly there. Pitch to Keller's in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. That one's outside for ball number 1 to Keller. Keller 0 for 1 on the day with it. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong batter. Keller is 0 for 1 on the day. No strikeout. That's Danny Gill on deck with the strikeout. It's low for a ball, and so 6. Yeah. They're just trying to reset the count on the board. 6 of the first 7 pitches have been balls for Kritsis. That one's outside for another ball. So that's 7 of 8 pitches going outside for the Felician right-hander. Again, he had to sit on the bench for a while. It's not exactly a warm, balmy day, even though my temperature gauge has gone back up to 70 degrees now. Keller lines that one into right field, looking for the diving play. I mean, he knocked it down. Keller's going to get a single, and oh man, Kelly almost got caught up in between the bases there. He's going to get to third. Hunter Keller has a single out to DeAngelis in right field. Kelly over to third, and the Eagles in business now with runners on the corner. This is what I talked about. You want to chip away slowly. Don't try and go for the kill right away. You're going to have to work your way back into this. You've got 3 innings to do so. So what better way to do it than start now and get a couple right here and see what you can do. Eagles have tied the game up at softball. 3-3 all on an RBI single by Julia Maida. They're in the bottom of the third. Base is still loaded with 1 out there. Here we got runners on the corners. 1-0 count. Kritsis struggling to find his zone, and now he hits a batter. Now the bases are loaded. Out at any base now. Michael Pavlicek, the top of the lineup up. Kritsis, I mean, even though he's struggling these last few batters, he only has 35 strikes on the day. 64 total pitches. He walked the batter on 4 straight pitches, then had 3 more balls, and then he's only thrown 1 strike so far. The other strike that he'd be awarded right now was on the hit that we just saw from Keller. Arm starting to get loose, it looks like, for the Felician bullpen. Nobody's seriously starting to throw. Actually, one person's starting to seriously throw. It's very hard to see the number from here only because of the bright yellow on white from a distance. But they already used their mound visit, so they can't even go out there to try and say anything else, because if they go out there, they're going to have to pull Kritsis. And if they don't want to do that yet, they can't go out there. So that's why you just saw the catcher go out there. That one's low for a ball. Wheels seem to start to be falling off the wagon for Kritsis in this inning. And Post trying to get themselves into this ball game. That one's lined up the middle. Pavlicek's got himself a hit, and a run's going to score. They're going to hold the runner at third. Oh, no, and here we go. Now they're caught up in a pickle. That's going to go 8-1-6 in the rundown. 8-1-6-5 in the rundown. So Pavlicek scores. Pavlicek gets a run in. I'm also inputting this because I am the official scorer for today's game as well. So we're doing double duty right now. That goes down 8-1-6. 8-1-6-5, excuse me. Karitzis off the field. In the pitch, trying to get a number on him. With second and third, one out. It's going to be number 19 coming to the game for Logan Waltz will take the mound. We'll take a break. We'll be back here in a minute on the CACC Network. Post threatening to score some runs, trailing by 6 now here in the bottom of the 5th. Bottom of the 5th. Eagles threatening Logan Waltz on the mound for Golden Falcons. Stepping to the plate is Evan Cornwell. Again, you don't need to get them all back right here. You've got 3 innings to work with, but this is what I talked about at the beginning. You want to chip away slowly, and they have a chance to chip away right now against Waltz, who comes into this game with a 3-2 record, 3.46 ERA, 10 appearances, 3 games started, 26 innings, 30 hits, 13 runs, 10 of those earned, 13 walks, 29 strikeouts. Waltz is the guy you want on the mound if you're Felician, as that's strike 1 in there to Cornwell. He's got the 3rd best ERA on the team for pitchers who have made appearances more than once, and out of all of them, he's 3rd. Kyle Bednarski leads the team with a 0.00 ERA. Bednarski, though, has only pitched in 4 innings in 5 appearances, so that's an important fact to note. Waltz has pitched 26 innings to get to the ERA he's at, which is second best on the, technically 3rd best on the team, second for given the amount of innings he's had. Cornwell takes that pitch low, 1-2 the count, and as the Eagles here try to work themselves back into the game, the Eagles over at Lemoyne Field in softball have taken a 6-3 lead. Their most runs scored in a game since their game actually against Felician down south in their 8-7 win a few weeks ago. Cornwell is going to chop that one to 3rd. Runner can't move over. The throw over to 1st, not in time, and it's going to get away. That's going to be an E5 on the play. That's going to allow 2 runs to score. So Cornwell is going to get credit for a single. He will not get credit for those 2 runs scoring because it was an infield hit. However, those 2 runs score because of a throwing error by the 3rd baseman over there in Walters. 2 runs score. As of right now, too, those runs would be unearned because the runners were staying put. So Chris Corchado up, runner on second. Now, this is the scenario I was talking about before. If it's an outfield fly, technically that would be considered then an earned run for that player who just scored the first run that scored, but the second run would still be unearned. So there's still some retracing back depending on how the rest of this inning shapes up when you look at earned runs and unearned runs. 1-0 the count, though. And now just like that, if you're the Eagles, you have turned this from a 7-0 deficit to 7-3. You have a chance to get more now, but you've done your job of chipping away at the lead just slightly enough. The question is, though, can you hold Felician off the scoreboard now? Because it remains to be seen who we're going to see next inning. Does Justin Portes come back out? I also see another arm warming up or starting to stretch for post. Nick Seaman's starting to move around out there. So we saw Gutowski out there warming up moments ago. Now we see Nick Seaman warming up, or at least getting loose. I can't help but think, though, that Justin Portes might be coming back out for the next inning. And like I said, how do you hold Felician off the scoreboard now? Because they did struggle last inning with doing that, and they've struggled all day. Martineau struggled to get guys out, and then Portes struggled last inning. Portes has shown in that one inning of work here, he's throwing hard, but he's still trying to find the location with it, and that's going to be hit right back to Corchado. By Corchado to the mound to Waltz. And he retires the batter. Cornwell moves over to third. So that now makes the run earned, one of the two runs earned. Pavelchak still would be unearned. Cornwell would be at second, technically speaking, without the error. So there's still two unearned runs on the board. One unearned run on the board this inning. Comes in there for a strike to Karen when we won the count. 7-3 game. Eagles with the chance to maybe get one or two more here, depending on what Karen can do. If he can go yard, which he's shown he can do this year, it's 7-5. He's in there for a strike. Waltz coming right with the heat over the plate. And Waltz has come with the heat in his first few batters faced. 6 strikes so far on 9 pitches. Now make that 8 strikes on 11 pitches. Low for a ball. Count moves to 1-2. Waltz looking to escape trouble. 1-2 count. 3 runs already in for post here in the 5th inning. Again, it's a 7-inning game. That one's going to be chopped towards third. Foul. We'll do it all over again. 1-2. Waltz sets. Cornwell at third. Fires. Did he go? He did not. They've checked down a lot today. I don't think one time either umpire who's been out there has called either team for a check swing so far today. 2-2 count now. 7-3 ball game. In the bottom of the 5th. Waltz sets, deals, swung on and missed, and that will retire the side. But not before. Post scratches across 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, 1 left on base. Kendrick DeAngelis Walters, top of the order. Coming up in the 6th inning for the Felician Golden Falcons here on the CACC Network. Thomas Kendrick, top of the order coming up for the Golden Falcons. As I say that, too, Post University is taking a 9-3 lead in softball. Lily Tomasello with a 3-run home run. And the Eagles look primed to get their first win at Lemoyne Field there. The Eagles here looking to get their second win of the day at Municipal. But they're going to need to do some work. They currently trail by 4 after getting 3 back in the 5th inning. And Justin Portes back on the mound. Command still not all there so far for the right-hander. We'll see if he can get it back on this pitch. Fires that one over the plate for a strike. 2-1 the count. That one's outside for a ball, 3-1. Portes right away. It seems like, and again, I don't want to speculate, obviously. It seems like, though, when Portes is going with the quick pitch like he does there, he doesn't seem to have as much control on the pitch as where we saw on that third pitch of the at-bat. He slowed things down, took his time with it, and then was able to fire it over the dish. I think maybe it's just a matter of being a little more patient with how quick you're going with your delivery to help kind of slow things down and make it a little bit easier. But Portes is going to come out now after that batter. He threw 27 pitches, 12 for strikes, 15 for balls, that means. And trying to get a number on him. Again, this is a 7-3 ball game, so everything matters now, whereas a minute or two ago it was 7-0. So big difference here now. Things change. I believe that's Eric Gutowski on the mound, but I'm waiting till he turns around to confirm. There's no numbers on the front of the Eagle jerseys, so you can't tell. Yep. Just got confirmation it is Gutowski on the mound for the Eagles. So while he warms up, I'm going to warm up a little off air, and we'll be back in a moment. Gutowski on the mound. DeAngelis at the dish. Check over on Kendrick at first, who, by the way, has reached base 3 times now in this second game of the doubleheader. Sack bunt there from DeAngelis. It's going to be an easy 1-3 out, but the runner does move over to second. That's a critical run for the Golden Falcons, obviously, too. If you can put yourself up by a 5th run, you give yourself a little more breathing room in this one. And up steps Walters. And Walters lines that one through the hole. It's a base hit. Pavlicek picks it up. Runner coming home to score. He will. It's an RBI single for Walters. Kendrick scoring. And just like that, the Golden Falcons get one back. And this is what I was talking about. Could the Eagles stop the offense of Felician from scoring to give themselves a chance? Portes struggled with that first batter, wasn't able to get him out, and walked him, and then that leads to the eventual run there after the sac bunt by DeAngelis. That run obviously is charged to Portes, not Gutowski. Gutowski is now responsible for all the remaining runners during his time on the mound. That one's lined into right field, foul. Counts 0-1. Eight runs on 9 hits. No errors. 3 runs on 7 hits and 1 error for Posts. They check on the runner at first. Nothing doing. Another pickoff play. Again, Gutowski's only thrown 2 pitches. He's tried to pick off now twice. 3 pitches now after the foul ball a minute ago. Fires in, and that one's fouled off to our rear left. Oh, 0-2 count coming. That one's lined into center field, and that's going to be a base hit. Runners move up a base as Ricky Voss gets on. And so far in this game, the Eagles pitching has not been able to figure out a way to get Felician out without any damage being done. And with that in mind, that's why it is an 8-3 game right now. And Post is playing from behind, but you got to get out of this inning without allowing any more runs to score if you want your chance to really get yourself back into this. Because at this point, the more you let up, you're running out of time. You've only got 6 outs to play with. But Felician's pitching by no means has looked superior in this game or last game at all. They looked very rough, and in game 1, Post pitching looked very solid with Joe Cristiano going the distance. 1-1 count. Swung on and missed. Count goes to 1-2 to Medrano. Medrano 1 for 3 today. Ricky Voss, was just up, is 3 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs and a sac fly. That one's cut on and missed. Gutowski gets a big second out. And Skrivanek now is coming up to the dish with 2 on, 2 out, and trying to keep this at just a 1-run inning is Gutowski. And see if the Eagles' bats can get working the bottom half of the frame. That one's a little bit upstairs for a strike. I thought he got the top of the zone, but home plate umpire Tom Ryberg disagreed. (1-0). Outside, they throw down to try and get the runner going back to first in Voss. Nothing doing there. And count moves to 2-0. Swung on and missed. 2-1 the count. Gets him swinging once more. Count moves to 2-2 on Skrvanek. Looking to escape this inning, only giving up 1 run and get the post bats back to the plate. Slow for a ball. Now the count moves full, 3-2. This is a big pitch here because obviously now you have the chance to get out of the inning or potentially load the bases up if it's outside and Skrvanek doesn't chase. Skrvanek's had an 0-for-2 day, but he had a solid game 1, so he can hit when called upon to, and this would be an opportunity for him to get a big hit, although that one's going to be in there for a strike 3, and that's going to do it. I was about to say, if he did get something to hit, Ricky Voss on first, it would be a little bit difficult for him to potentially get from first all the way home unless it was hit to the wall, but it won't matter at all as the Eagles escape trouble. 1 run given up on 2 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. It'll be Brennan, Rivera, and Kelly coming to the dish against, looks like Waltz is going back out there in the bottom of the 6th inning on the CACC Network. Jimmy Brennan coming to the dish, 2 for 2 on the day. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is his first at bat since the issue with his wrist a couple innings ago with Portes on the mound. So we'll see how he swings the bat here because he did look like he was in a little bit of discomfort early on. Or, excuse me, after that play had happened. Understandably so. See how he looks with the bat in his hand now as that one's in there for a strike. He's looked good with the bat so far in his hands today. In general, he's got 5 hits so far, and he's 2 for 2 in this one. Post softball threatening for more now, 1st and 2nd in the bottom of the 5th as Brennan swings and misses at that one. 1st and 2nd up by 6. Keep in mind, there is the 8-run mercy rule too, so actually they're on the verge of potentially getting what would be really a big win for them to finally get the offense going in that one. You saw the post baseball offense get going in game 1 to the tune of 11 runs, and they've struggled in game 2 to get the offense going. And even last inning, they got those 3 runs. 2 of them were on that error on the throw by Walters at third, but it's big nonetheless because you hope to turn momentum in your favor. The Eagles trying to do that now. Brennan swings and misses first out of the inning against Waltz. That'll bring Justin Rivera to the dish. That one's hit on the ground to second. Torres over to first and quickly retired 4-3. Jalen Kelly to the dish now. He's walked twice, scored once. So no at-bats, technically speaking, in this one so far. That one's high for a ball, 1-1 the count. That one's over the plate for strike 2. So Walt's looking to escape this inning without giving up anything. It'll be a big 1-2-3 inning if you're Felician, up 5 now and heading into the 7th with that lead. And he's going to get him looking, and that'll retire the side. So no runs on no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Cole Porter will lead things off for Felician heading into the top of the 7th, the final inning of play here. On CACC Network, Felician leads 8-3. Seventh inning here. Cole Porter to the dish against Eric Gutowski. Eagles trailing by 5 here going into the final inning. Mike Vesci joining you for game number 2 of this one. Saw a masterful performance in game 1, an 11-1 win for the Eagles. But struggling in game 2 to really do anything, and the pitching just hasn't been where it was, obviously, in game 1 with Joe Christiana on the mound. Jack Martineau struggled in his start, and then the bullpen has struggled a little bit as well with their command and being able to get guys out in big situations, which has led to four runs from the bullpen, 4 runs from Martineau starting. That one's hitting the left field by Porter. That one's going to get down by Karen, going all the way to the wall. Porter's going to get 2 on that one. Stand-up double for Cole Porter. Felician just continuing to hammer the heck out of the ball as Torres comes to the plate now with the chance to possibly knock in another one for the Golden Falcons. And that looks like it's going to be it for Gutowski. See who comes in. Looks like Marshall Thurman's going to take the mound. So Marshall Thurman's going to come in to pitch for the Eagles, and we'll take a break while he's throwing his warm-ups here on the CACC network. Marshall Thurman on the mound for the Eagles. He'll face Torres here to see if he can keep this at an 8-3 ball game. No outs, runner on second, no one out. Just said that. Eagles down by 5 runs in the final inning of this doubleheader. First pitch from Thurman in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. Thurman, a 4.91 ERA in 4 appearances, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. And that one's going to be a hard hit ball. That's going to be a single for Torres. Nothing Cornwell could really do about that one, trying to dive for it. Slide for it. And that'll bring up Evangelista, the number 9 hitter. Sean Evangelista is 0 for 3 on the day with 2 strikeouts. Got plays at third, second, and first if you're the Eagles to potentially limit it. The corner's in for post. That one's bunted over to the left side. Corchado turns around. It's going to be a 3-4 sack. Runners move over, and Thomas Kendrick now up. He's 2 for 3 on the day. And now it looks like Ray Scold's going to the bullpen again, so it must have been a matchup thing because now Aiden Carabello is going to come into the game, and we're going to step aside on the CACC network for this pitching change. Thomas Kendrick to the plate. Eagles trying to escape trouble again. It's an 8-3 ball game, going with a matchup battle here. So Aiden Carabello, the freshman, comes in the top of the 7th. 1 out, runners on 2nd and 3rd, and the top of the lineup up for the Felician Golden Falcons. Trying to earn a doubleheader split after the Eagles took game 1 11-1. The first pitch from Carabello in their first strike. Carabello made an appearance last weekend, had a perfect inning of work. Was the only pitcher in that game. I believe that was game 2 of the doubleheader, game 3 of the 3-game series on Sunday. He was the only pitcher from the Eagles to have no runs given up in that loss. That one's outside for a ball, and keep in mind, Carabello is not responsible for the runners on base. He is only responsible for the batter up and beyond. So those 2 runs that are on base will get charged to whoever inherited them, and because Thurman also didn't inherit them, it will actually go all the way back to Gutowski, who will inherit those runners, as that one's flied into right field. Pavlicek ranging over into foul territory, trying to grab it. He does. It's going to be a sac fly in foul territory, and the Eagles trail 9-3. Andrew DeAngelo's coming to the plate, runner on 3rd. 2 outs, 9-3 ball game. That run is charged to Gutowski. First pitch is high for a ball. 1-0 the count. That one's lined into left field. Leaping up for it is DJ Karen. And the side's retired. Last ups for post coming up. Keller, Gill, Pavlicek all coming to bat. CACC Network. It's 9-3 Felician heading into the bottom of the 7th. One oh the count. Hunter Keller up to the dish. Last ups here for post. 9-3 their trail. They're going to need to do something here if they want to get back into it, and that's a fair ball. No one knows what's going on, and eventually Ricky Voss. I can't help but laugh a little bit at that. There's a very emphatic punch out there by Patrick Burns over at first. It was inside the line. Ricky Voss was just kind of chilling with the ball over there and then finally picked it up and realized he had to step on the base. He does. One away. And up comes Danny Gill. Outside for ball one. 1-0 the count. 1 out. Post trails by 6. The Eagles have just gotten a mercy rule over against AIC. They just won that one 12-4 in 6 innings. Sam Ricarduli with the game-winning double. Carly Peruso also had another single in that one. She had, I believe, 3 RBIs in that game. So a little bit of a role reversal here in terms of we're seeing all the offense go to softball in this game. As that one's hit up the middle by Danny Gill. He's going to get on base with the single, and the Post Eagles trying to stay alive here with the top of the lineup coming up in Michael Pavlicek. So 12-4 final in game number 2 for Post softball. We had a game 1 win for Post baseball, 11-1. I guess they took the offense in game 2. It's been a bit of a reversal here in game 2 here, where the Eagles are the ones trailing 9-3 now. Walt's still pitching, looking to get 2 more here, and that pitch is in there for a strike. 0-1 the count. That one's outside for a ball, 1-1. One count, chopped over to Voss, and he's going to take the easy out at first, then Pavlicek. Runner moves up to second. Gill at second, 2 outs, Cornwell at the dish. Eagles down to their last out in a 9-3 ball game. Oh. 0-1 count there to Cornwell. Again, the Eagles down to their last out. That one's in their first strike. 0-2 the count. Eagles down to their last strike here. Evan Cornwell at the dish. They trail 9-3. Waltz deals. Low in the dirt. Cornwell thought about it. Doesn't go. 1-2 count. That one's lined into left field foul. Hey, it's caught by whoever the bullpen catcher is. I can't tell who that is, but he makes the nice catch in foul territory. One, two count, 2 outs here. Chilly afternoon here. Cornwell takes that one for ball number 2. 2-2 count. That one's lined into left field. Going over to get that is Skravanek, and that'll do it. So the Eagles going to lose this one 9-3. They take game 1 of the doubleheader by a final score of 11-1, but drop game 2 by a final score of 9-3. Eagles struggled today to get anything going in game number 2. Game time just over 2 hours and 20 minutes. Pitchers of record will be the 2 starters, obviously, because it was a 7-inning game, but that'll do it for this one. Here in game number 2, Eagles fall 9-3. They split the doubleheader. Thank you for joining me today on this doubleheader. I'm Mike Vesey signing off from Municipal Stadium. Post takes game 1 11-1, loses game 2 9-3.